Yeah, good morning, girl. Today I want to discuss one of the important concept. Okay, that is your object-oriented programming concepts. Okay, so the subject itself is that is object-oriented programming using through C++. Okay, so uh, so this is your object-oriented programming concepts. Okay, hope the screen is visible, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. So the basic concepts of object-oriented programming. So because this is very important concept, I think anyone having the idea of what is object-oriented programming? Anyone? Hello.
No, sir.
Okay, right. So because now it is very important. Okay. So to know about this object-oriented programming concepts, because this only you will get in any language. Okay. Whenever you are learning about the object-oriented programming languages, even when you go to the next semester, you will have this Java or Python. Okay. Java, Python, or even in the current semester, you will have this .NET. Okay. All are object-oriented programming language. So why those are called object oriented programming languages means because they are having some important concepts called object oriented programming concepts. So what are those object oriented programming concepts? The first one is your objects, and the second one is your classes, and the next one is data encapsulation, data abstraction, inheritance, polymorphism, dynamic binding, and message passing. These are the 8 important concepts. So whenever one language is following these 8 important concepts are in which the most important concepts are like data encapsulation. Class and object are fundamental. Definitely object oriented programming should contain these concepts, and along with that objects and classes, if it follows this data encapsulation, data abstraction, inheritance, and polymorphism, then I can say this is a object oriented programming language. And this dynamic binding and message passing, these are internal part of this concepts only. Hope this is very important topic. Okay, so what are the total? How many important concepts are there? OPS concepts total 8. The first one is your class, objects, encapsulation, or which is also called as data encapsulation, and the next one is your abstraction, polymorphism, inheritance, dynamic binding, and message passing. So these are the total 8 important object-oriented programming concepts. In that, the first one we are going to deal with this object. Okay, so what is mean by object is nothing but it is a real world entity. Object is a real world entity. Anything that I can see in the real world is a object. Like you can go to the classroom. When within the classroom I have pen, chair, table, then all these are objects, and an entity that has a state and behavior. So whenever it is like exactly similar to the entity that is there in your RDBMS. Okay, even class and object I can say interchangeable. Like sometimes I can use it as class, and sometimes I can use object. But what is the main difference between class and object is yesterday I discussed, right? Fruit is a class, but whereas what are the objects of this fruit class is like mango and orange and guava. Okay, all these are the objects of fruit class. So that we have to understand the difference. Okay, so any entity that has both state and behavior, so which is having both state and behavior, that is known as object. For example, chair, pen, table, keyboard, etc. All these are the objects. Object is a physical as well as logical entity, whereas class is only logical entity. Okay, class anedi logical entity. Okay, like fruit అని చెప్పినప్పుడు నాకు అది I cannot say, right? I cannot show it as physical. It is a logical thing, logical. Okay, but physical గా నేను fruit అన్నప్పుడు I have to specify like mango. Then I can show that it is a physical existence. Mango will be there, but fruit is just a virtual term. Okay, virtual term. So all these are the objects like table, chair. Everything is an object in the that is in the real time. Object is nothing but it is encapsulation of both data and operations. So this we have discussed in the yesterday's class. That is, object is nothing but it is a combination of both data members and member functions. Okay, both it will contain both data and operations that can be performed on that particular data. So objects are manipulated by sending messages to them. One object can communicate with another object by sending messages to them. That is called message passing. That is one of the OOPS features only. OOPS features anochu, OOPS concepts anochu, or OOPS properties anochu. So objects are manipulated by sending messages to other objects. When object receives a message, it determines the operations to perform on itself, and how to perform these operations. Internally, an object is like data or procedure system. Okay, this is about object. So object has three important characteristics. That is, one is your state, and the next one is your behavior, and the next one is identity. So every object has these three properties. That is, state is nothing but what is the data or value of our object. Okay, what is the data of an object? Like if I take fruit, fruit is a class, or otherwise person is a class. So every class, what is the objects of this one is nothing but person came to the, I can say one Praveen. Okay, or if I say one employee is also a person, but employee is also a class. Within this employee, I can specify particular employee, like software engineer. This is also generic class only. In the software engineer, again, we like this, we can have different categories, but each one may be class. And only particularly if I take one person, like within the software engineer, I will take one person which is having data like name. What is the name of that particular person, and what is his salary of that particular person, what is his age. Okay, everything related to one particular class is called object. So every object has this state. So what is the current state of this one means what is his name, what is his salary, and what is his age, and what is his behavior. Behavior is nothing but what are the functions of this particular person. He can do eat or read, write, walk, okay, anything. These are the functions of that particular person. And identity, how this person can be uniquely identified. So how he can identify it by uniquely by using this employee ID. Okay, hope everyone is following, right?
Yes, sir.
So this is called object. So for example, pen is an object, and what is the name of the pen is Reynolds. So this is the state of that particular thing, and his color is white. This is called state. Okay, so his name is Reynolds, and what is the color of that particular pen is blue or white or red, and it is known as state, and it is used to write. This is the behavior. Okay, write is the behavior. And how can you uniquely identify that particular pen? By using name. Reynolds is a company name. Okay, that is the identity of that particular thing, object. Okay, clear?
Yes, sir.
And one more example of the another example is like dog. And what is the identity? What is the name of the dog? What is the breed of the dog? That is the identity for the dog. And what are the state and attributes of that particular dog? Breed. What is the age of the dog? And what is the color of the dog? And what are the behaviors? It can bark, and it can sleep, and it can eat. Okay, these are the behavior is nothing but functions. This is nothing but variables. Okay, so state or attributes is nothing but variables, and behavior is nothing but functions. So if I combine these both variables and functions, I will place inside one particular thing, that is called object. I can say object or class. I can write object or class. But what is the main difference between class and object is class is a logical entity, whereas object is a real time existence will be there, and it is also both physical entity and as well as logical entity. And what is the instance of that particular class is nothing but object. Okay, so what is the best definition for object is nothing but it is an instance of a class. Instance of a class ante ఇప్పుడు ఫ్రూట్ అని ఇచ్చాను, బట్ ఐ కెనాట్ సే వాట్ ఈస్ దట్ ఫ్రూట్. బట్ వాట్ ఈస్ ద ఇన్స్టెన్స్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ ఫ్రూట్స్, వాట్ ఆర్ ద డిఫరెంట్ టైప్స్ ఆఫ్ ఫ్రూట్స్ ఈజ్ నథింగ్ బట్ ఇన్స్టెన్స్. ఇఫ్ ఐ టేక్ వెహికల్ ఈజ్ ఏ క్లాస్, బట్ వాట్ ఆర్ ద ఇన్స్టాన్సెస్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ వెహికల్ ఈజ్ నథింగ్ బట్ ఇట్ మే బి బైక్. అగైన్ వెహికల్ లో మళ్ళీ మనకి టూ వీలర్ ఈజ్ ఆల్సో అనదర్ క్లాస్, and three-wheeler is also another class, and four-wheeler also another class. Okay, all these are the different classes. Again, two-wheeler, what are the objects of two-wheeler? They like bike, scooty, bicycle. All these are the objects of two-wheeler. Three-wheeler objects like auto, okay, auto rickshaw, something like this. And four-wheeler, car, lorry, okay, different not lorry, you can take anything, car or different things. Okay, van, all these are the class. So this is hope you understand, right? So what is the difference between class and object? Okay, hello, hope you understand,
Sir.
right? Yeah, so
Yes, sir.
so this is nothing but a collection of objects of particular will be grouped, and those will be placed in the class. Clear? A collection of similar objects which are having the same attributes and same members, or same members, same data and same behavior, those will be categorized, those will be grouped, clubbed in, and they will be placed in a class. Now you got it, right? So collection of fruits like mango, ivanni kuda I will club them, and I will place in a class called fruit. Okay. So object, what is the definition for the object? Object is a real world entity and it is a runtime entity. Object is an entity which has both state and behavior and which is also instance of the class. Most frequently we will use this definition, that is nothing but object is an instance of a class. Okay. Object is nothing but an instance of a class. This concept is called instantiation. Instantiation. Okay. This concept is also called as instantiation, or which is also called as creation of object. Creation of object. Okay. So we will discuss all in detail, but what is an object is nothing but it is a real-time entity which has both state, behavior, and identity. So this thing is enough for you. Anything that I can see in the real world is a object. Like if you go for a school is a school and ఇచ్చినప్పుడు ఏంటిది క్లాస్ అదొక క్లాస్ అవుతుంది స్కూల్. బట్ ఆ స్కూల్లో particularly if I mention one particular name of the school, I can uniquely identify that is a primary school. This is also subclass, and within the primary school I can say particular school, what is the name of the school, what is the registration number of the particular school, and what is the area of that particular school or address of that particular school, how many strength is there, everything is related to that particular school class. Okay, those are the attributes. Okay, clear? All of you clear, right? Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
Right. So next one is your object is nothing but it is an instance of a class. This is the best definition for the object. When a class is defined, no memory is allocated, but when it is instantiated, means nothing but when object is created, memory is allocated. Okay. So whenever I declare a class, we will discuss all these in detail. So this is the class declaration. How you declare it is like exactly similar to the structure. Like whenever you are creating a C structure, then you will use struct keyword. And what is the name of the structure? Like student is the structure name of the structure, and inside this structure will be ended with semicolon or not? Can anyone tell?
Yes, sir.
Ended with semicolon.
Yeah.
Okay. And the student will have different, like what is the name of the student? Like character name of 50. Okay, maximum 50 characters ఉన్న name ఉంటుంది అనుకుంటున్నాను. Like what is his age? Okay, and what is the marks? If you have done in the structures, then you can do this type of programs. M4, M5, M6. So this is a structure as you already familiar with it within the C language. That is struct is the keyword and student is the name of the structure, and it has three different. What is the structure? Within the structure I can have different types of data types. So if you take normal integer variables, we have different types of variables, and array is nothing but a group of similar data types. If I say int a of 10 means I can store only 10 integer values. If I specify it as float character of float something f of 30 means I can store 30 float values. So this is similar అన్నప్పుడు నేను ఏంటిది array is nothing but a collection of, because if I specify int a, within this a I can store at a time only one value, but if I want to store more than one value, then I have to create 100 variables. దాని disadvantage ని rectify చేయడానికి they created a concept called array, in which I can store a group of items of similar data type. Similar data types ఉన్న items ని నేను store చేయాలనుకుంటే I will go for array. But if I want to store data of different data types, like within a structure I can store character data type which is of 50 characters, integer data type also I can store, and float also I can store. If I want to store the data of different types in a single place, then that is called a structure. I think everyone is having this idea, right? What is structure, how to create a structure variable, what is type def? Okay, everyone is having, right? If you understand the structure concept, then only you will know this class concept. There is a similar familiarity between structure and class, and the main difference between structure and class is within the structure I don't have any functions. Correct, right?
Yes, sir.
But in case of class I have both data members, which is also called as data members, and I can have these functions also. This is called member function. So this is called class, which will contain data members. These are called data members, and these are called member functions.
Member functions.
So member functions. So this is called a class. So class is nothing but any class which can have both data members and member functions. మీరు అనుకోవచ్చు ఇందాక మీరు ఆబ్జెక్ట్ లో చెప్పారు కదా సార్ అని చెప్పేసి, ఆబ్జెక్ట్ లో కూడా ఉంటాయి. అంటే ఇప్పుడు ఈ క్యారెక్టర్ క్లాస్ పర్సన్ అని చెప్పాను, బట్ ఆ పర్సన్ నేమ్ ఏంటిది, ఐడి ఏంటిది అనేది మనకి జస్ట్ ఇట్ ఈస్ ఎ వర్చువల్ టర్మ్స్. బట్ whenever I create a object for this particular object is nothing but creating a variable for the class. That's it. ఇప్పుడు మీరు స్ట్రక్చర్ కి వేరియబుల్ ఎలా క్రియేట్ చేస్తారు, స్ట్రక్ట్ స్టూడెంట్ S1 అని ఇస్తారు, అంతే కదా, క్లియర్?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
సో ఇప్పుడు ఈ స్టూడెంట్ అనే స్ట్రక్చర్ కి ఐ హావ్ వన్ వేరియబుల్ కాల్డ్ S1.
S1.
This is called structure variable. In the same manner, whenever I create a variable for the class, that is called a object. That's it. Okay. ఇప్పుడు నేను P1 అని ఇచ్చాను, అప్పుడు ఆ P1 అనే అతనికి నేమ్ ఉంటుంది, ఐడి ఉంటుంది. హిస్ నేమ్ ఏంటిది, ఐడి ఏంటిది, అండ్ హిస్ బిహేవియర్ గెట్ డీటెయిల్స్ ఇస్ ద ఫంక్షన్. సో what you have to understand is, whenever you create a class, then the memory will be not allocated, but whenever you created the object, then memory will be allocated. In the memory some space will be allocated, in the memory some space will be allocated like this. Yeah, so space will be allocated, and name variable will be allocated with 20 bytes of memory will be allocated, and id is the integer which is allocating with 4 bytes of memory. Okay, itla memory epudu allocate avutundante whenever you create the object. So object is nothing but instance of a class. What is that instance is nothing but P1 అని చెప్తే ఆ P1 అనే అతనికి నేమ్ సెపరేట్ గా ఉంటది, ఐడి సెపరేట్ గా ఉంటది. అదే if I create P2 has its own his own data. Okay, so all these but they are having the case common behavior, like P1 person is also having name and id, P2 is also a person which is having name and id. So I can club these two together and I can place in a class called person. So person anedi, so the objects which are having the similar behavior, those will be grouped and I will place in a class. Clear? All of you clear, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so object is nothing but instance of a class. When a class is defined, no memory is allocated, but when it is instantiated, whenever I create the object, then this memory will be allocated. Like name ki 20 bytes allocate avutundi, id ki 4 bytes allocate avutundi. That's it. And this function ki kuda oka memory allocate avutundi, like void get details అని చెప్పేసి ఒక memory allocate అవుతుంది. So each objects contain both data and function to manipulate on the data. ఇక్కడ కోడ్ కంటే కూడా ఫంక్షన్ అనేది బెటర్. ఫంక్షన్ objects can interact without having to know the details of each other's data or code. It is sufficient to know the type of the message accepted and type of response returned by the objects. So this is about objects. And the next one is about class. Second one is your class. Class is a user defined data type. Even structure is a user defined data type. I think everyone is having that idea, right? What are the different types of data types? Primary data types, primary data types are primitive. This is also called as primary data types, or primitive data types, or built-in data types. And
Or we can call predefined data types, sir.
yeah, predefined, yeah, anything, yeah, predefined data types or built-in data types are primary data types. And the secondary data types
Or user defined data types.
not user defined, that is separate category, that is your user defined data types. So total 3 types of data types are there. The first one is your primary data types. 1 minute, I am having chart. Yeah, so derived data types. Okay, secondary data types are also called as derived data types. Very good. Okay, so derived data types. So primary data types are nothing but primary. These are built-in data types, like integer, or these are also called as primitive data types. Okay, so integer, float, character, next double. Okay, so double, and the next one long. All these are the primitive data types. And secondary data types or derived data types are nothing but these are not primitive data types, these are derived from these data types. I am deriving from these data types. Like what are the examples? Arrays, pointers. Okay, all these are comes under secondary data type. User defined data types are nothing but I can create my own data type. That is nothing but user can create his own data type. That is examples are structure, enum, union. Okay, all these are comes under user defined data type. Even in case of C++, we have this class is the user defined data type. Okay, yeah, so a class is a user defined data type or user defined blueprint, okay, from which objects are created. It is like a blueprint, okay. మీరు ఇప్పుడు ఒక మోడల్ ఒక హౌస్ ని కన్స్ట్రక్ట్ చేయాలనుకోండి, హౌస్ ని కన్స్ట్రక్ట్ చేయాలనుకుంటే ఫస్ట్ యూ విల్ హ్యావ్ దిస్ ప్లాన్, రైట్? hope everyone
Yes.
having the idea, right? Plan. So ఈ ప్లాన్ ని బేస్ చేసుకొని నేను రియల్ టైం ఎన్ని హౌసెస్ అయినా కన్స్ట్రక్ట్ చేయొచ్చు, ఓకే. ఇస్ దట్ క్లియర్? ఒక అపార్ట్మెంట్ కన్స్ట్రక్ట్ చేస్తున్నప్పుడు నేను ఒక 2 BHK అపార్ట్మెంట్ కి ప్లాన్ తీసుకుంటాను. దెన్ బేస్డ్ ఆన్ దిస్ 2 BHK అపార్ట్మెంట్ ప్లాన్ ఐ కెన్ create any number of objects, right? I can create any number of 2 BHKs. Like within the apartment I can construct even 20 2 BHK lo nenu construct cheyochu because I have this plan. So it is nothing but a class anedi ganaka user defined or blueprint or prototype or data type ani kuda anochu. It is a user defined blueprint or prototype or data type from which objects are created. Is that clear? Fruit is
Yes.
a class from which mango, all these objects will be created. Vehicle is a class from which all the bike gani, scooty gani, all these objects can be created. And person is a class from which a particular person will be created. So you are having like class. In your class you have total how many objects are there? If you are taking shift 1, then 60 objects are there, and shift 2 means 62 objects are there, something like that, okay. Clear, right? All students are having the common behavior. What are the common behavior? Like he is having name, he is having pin number, okay, he is having some age, but those values may be different for each object. Clear? All of you clear, right?
Yes, sir.
So class is nothing but which are having the common behavior, like every student is a class. Student class will have his own name, pin number, age, and these are the some attributes of that particular student class, and his functions are like reading, writing, playing, something like this, okay. All these are the his behavior of that particular student, okay. So if I have all these names and all these function, everything will be same for the, so all these I will club and I will place in a class, student class. But within this student class I have to create individual objects like student s1 may be Nitin, s2 may be Nadine, s3 may be something Varsha, something like this. Each object having its own behavior. Like s1 is having the name and his pin number may be different and his age may be different and he has reading, he may read well or something like this, okay. His functionalities will be different, okay. So these objects, but they are having the common behavior. So it contains only list of variables and methods and no memory is allocated for them. For class no memory will be allocated. Whenever I create the object of that particular class, then only memory will be allocated. That is very important point to remember. Next, collection of objects which are having the same behavior or common behavior, and common behavior annappudu functions anochu lepothe data anochu. So the collection of objects which are having the same variables and function, those are called class. It is a logical entity, whereas object is a real time entity. Real time or existence will be there, that is physical entity. నేను ఇప్పుడు స్టూడెంట్ అంటే నేను చెప్పలేను, బట్ స్టూడెంట్ లో నేను ఒక ప్రవీణ్ అని తీసుకుంటే ఐ కెన్ షో హిమ్ ప్రవీణ్ ఇస్ ఏ స్టూడెంట్, హి హాస్ హిస్ పిన్ నెంబర్, ఏజ్, ఇలా చూపించవచ్చు. సో ప్రవీణ్ ఇస్ ద ఆబ్జెక్ట్, whereas student is a logical entity, but Praveen is the physical entity. I can physical existence will be there. Sometimes these objects may also not having the physical existence, like account is a object. Account lo SBI account ani ichanu nenu. SBI account anedi entidi oka specific, but I cannot show, right? It is just a virtual number, that's it, okay. So that is this one. Objects may be logical or physical, but whereas classes is compulsory logical object. It represents a set of properties and methods that are common to all objects of the type. A class is a group of similar objects that have same properties, common behavior. Properties ante ikkada variables anukochu. It has same variables or attributes and it has common behavior, that is nothing but functions. So class defines the characteristics of objects. The term class is the abbreviation of class of objects. In OOPS, objects are members of the class. To illustrate the concept of class, let's consider the following examples. So same thing. Fruit is a class in which will contain 4 objects like mango, orange, apple, banana. And I can say, right, mango, orange, apple, banana are the 4 objects of fruit class. In the same manner, vehicle is a class which has bus, car, auto, bike. So bus, car, auto, bike are the 4 objects of class vehicle. Student is a object and S1, S2, S3. S1 ante it may be anything, any particular student in the shift 1, or S2 is nothing but any student that particular student in the shift 2. So each one having his own behavior, like his name may be different, his pin number may be different, his age may be different. Hope you understand, right? No doubt, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So class is nothing but it is a user defined data type which holds its own data members and member functions, which can be accessed and by used by creating an instance of the class. But a class is nothing but it is a virtual, okay, it is nothing but a logical entity for which memory will be not allocated. Just I will define what are the members of that particular class and what are the member functions. But if I want to use that particular data, compulsory I have to create the instance of the class, that is nothing but object. A class is like a blueprint, okay, it is like a template or model, okay, model for the object, okay. So that is one thing. And we can say that a class in C++ is a blueprint representing a group of objects, okay, which shares some common properties and behaviors, okay, which are sharing some common properties and behavior. Here the example is like car is a class. So car will have its own engine name untundi, and what is the name of the car, and how many wheels are there for the car, everything, okay. So that is about class. So in similar way you can define many objects of the same class. So each class will have both data members, we can have any number of data, that is data members, and next member functions. For this class I can create the object is it has its own data, and another object it has its own data and functions. So what is the main difference between class and object? So class and objects are separated but related concepts. I can use interchangeably also, but there is a slight difference between class and object is nothing but class is a, yeah, what is class? Class is a blueprint, okay. Class is a blueprint which is a collection of objects which are sharing the common behavior. Object is object is an instance of a class, that's it, okay. An instance is nothing but object is a variable for the class. Every object belongs to a class and every class contains one or more related objects. A class is static, all attributes of the class are static before, during, and after the execution. Yeah, this one not required. Yeah. And one more important concept is data encapsulation. This is called data encapsulation. Whatever I am discussing, everything is important, okay. If you understand these fundamental concepts of object oriented programming, then only you can understand any other language, because all the concepts will be same. Even in the .NET subject also, the second chapter is deals with this object oriented programming concepts only. So మీరు parallel గా మీరు .NET ఇది రెండు నేర్చుకున్నారు అనుకోండి, don't confuse with both the syntax, but if you remember the one syntax perfectly, then automatically the .NET will be easy in that manner, okay. So try to learn this C++ in depth so that .NET will be very easy to learn, okay. Yeah. So what is the definition for this data encapsulation? So till now we discussed about the class and object. So just to remember, class is nothing but a blueprint which is a collection of objects that share the common behavior and common data, whereas object is nothing but it is a instance of class. And class is a logical entity, whereas object is a physical entity as well as logical entity. So if you remember in the example manner, then you can easily define, like fruit is a class, object of fruit, and sorry, vehicle is a class, and what are the objects of the vehicle. And the next important concept is data encapsulation, which is nothing but wrapping up of or binding or clubbing or grouping, anything, wrapping up of both the data members and member functions into a single unit is known as encapsulation. అది ఎక్కడ చేస్తున్నామంటే క్లాస్ లోపల చేస్తున్నాం. That is nothing but if you are taking a real time capsule, then it is wrapped with different medicines, okay. Whenever you are seeing a real time capsule, it will be like this, so that whatever the medicines that is there inside, that will not be coming outside, correct? Is that clear? మీరు ఎప్పుడైనా క్యాప్సూల్ తీసుకున్నారనుకోండి, ఆ క్యాప్సూల్ లోపల మెడిసిన్ ఉంటుంది. ఎందుకు ఈ క్యాప్సూల్ ని ఇలా పెడతారని అంటే ఆ మెడిసిన్ అనేది బయటికి రాకుండా. ఇన్ ద సేమ్ మేనర్ ఐ విల్ ప్లేస్ ఏ క్లాస్ or I can create a class which contain both data members, these variables, okay. This is like a capsule, this is like a capsule which will contain both This is your data members. These are your data members, and these are your member functions, which are also called as functions anochu, methods anochu. In case of Java language, you will Java or Python, you will call those as methods only. Okay. So a class is a class. సో ఏదైతే ప్రాసెస్ నేను చెప్తున్నానో wrapping or binding or grouping or clubbing of both data members and member functions into a single unit is nothing but data encapsulation. Hope you got it right, the definition. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So wrapping up of both data and functions, or data and nothing but data members, and code is nothing but member function. So I can write the definition like encapsulation is the process of wrapping up of or binding the both data members and member functions into a single unit. A single unit ఏంటిది ఇక్కడ? Anyone tell me what is this single unit?
Object.
Not object, class. Okay.
Class.
So within the class only I can have both data members and member functions. Okay. So yeah, so that process itself is called a data encapsulation. Data encapsule. I am saying what is the name of this one is data ante ikkada rendu annattu, data members member functions. Normal ga structure వీటిలో అయితే data అంటే variables అనే వస్తుంది, but in case of class or object oriented programming లో data అన్నప్పుడు both data members వస్తాయి, member functions వస్తాయి. So data encapsule. So what is the meaning of that one? I am both data ఏదైతే ఉందో ఆ data members member functions I am placing inside this capsule so that it cannot be easily visible to the outside. So that's why I am providing more security to the data. So data ki అందువల్ల నాకు ఎవరు పడితే వాళ్ళు ఆ డేటాని ఎవరైనా యాక్సెస్ చేయలేరు ఈజీగా. So that process itself is called data encapsulation. So encapsulation is defined as the wrapping up of both data members and member functions into a single unit. That is, data and functions are encapsulated in one nice neat bundle called C++ class. So I will place inside this C++ class. It is a mechanism that binds both data and code together. It manipulates. The main advantage of using this encapsulation is to secure the data from the other methods. So once you place within inside this class, so that other users cannot easily access that particular data. So when we make it as private data, then this data can only used within the class, but this data is not accessible outside the class. We will discuss what is private, public, protected. All these are access specifiers. So technically in encapsulation, the variables or data of the class is hidden from any other class and can be accessed only through the member function of the own class in which they are declared. We will discuss this in detail whenever I am discussing the programming part, then I will show. As in encapsulation, the data is in a class is hidden from other classes. This is called data hiding also. So what a data encapsulation lone manaki inkoka concept vastundi, that is nothing but data hiding, because I am hiding the data, right? Here I am providing the more security to the data. That's why this is data hiding. Encapsulation can be achieved by declaring all the variables inside the class as private and writing public methods in the class to set and get the values of variables. Hope everyone is clear, right? All of you. What is meant by data encapsulation? What is meant by data encapsulation? Hello.
Binding of data together.
Yeah, binding of both data. ఇక్కడ డేటా అంటే
Members
ఈ
and
డెఫినేషన్
data.
తీసుకోండి, ఈ డెఫినేషన్. ఓకే, ఎన్క్యాప్సులేషన్ ఇస్ a process of wrapping up of both data members and member functions into a single unit is nothing but encapsulation. So wrapping up of or binding up of or grouping up of or clubbing up of both data members and member functions into a single unit is nothing but encapsulation. That single unit is itself is called a class. And what is the advantages of this encapsulation is nothing but it is used to provide more security to the data, so that whatever the data that I kept inside the class, that cannot be accessed by outside class. So ఒక క్లాస్ లోపల పెట్టినటువంటి డేటాని నేను అవుట్ సైడ్ లో యాక్సెస్ చేయలేను, సో దట్ ఐ కెన్ ప్రొవైడ్ మోర్ సెక్యూరిటీ టు ద డేటా. దట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ ఎన్క్యాప్సులేషన్. అండ్ ద నెక్స్ట్ వన్ ఈజ్ యువర్ డేటా అబ్స్ట్రాక్షన్. Abstraction is nothing but, I think if you know about the data structures, that there you learned about abstract data type. Can anyone tell what is abstract data type?
Pop push, sir.
We should not be concerned about its storage.
It's a data type. Okay, that is called abstract data type. Okay, yeah. If I specify one data structure, if I create one stack is a data structure which is also called abstract data type. And ఎందుకని అంటున్నానంటే ఈ స్టాక్ అనే డేటా స్ట్రక్చర్ లో నేను I can store integer data, or I can store float data, or I can store character data, I can store long data, anything. So that is nothing but abstract data type. Okay, means the data type is not specific to particular data type. If I specify like int a, then I have to store only integer values inside that particular variable. But if I create a data structure of abstract, or if it is a abstract data type, then I can store any kind of data inside that one. That is called abstract data type. In the same manner, abstraction is nothing but hiding the internal details and showing only the functionality is known as abstraction. This is very important. Hiding the internal details and showing only the essential functionality is known as abstraction. I don't require the internal details. Okay, for every concept data encapsulation అది ఎలా అచీవ్ అవుతుందంటే క్లాస్ ద్వారా అచీవ్ అవుతుంది in case of this C++. And in the same manner, data abstraction, that is achieved by using virtual functions. Virtual functions are abstract classes. Okay, we will discuss. ఇక్కడ ఏంటంటే ప్రతి కాన్సెప్ట్ కి మనకు ఒక సపరేట్ ప్రతి oops కాన్సెప్ట్స్ కి మనకి సపరేట్ ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ పార్ట్, పర్టికులర్ టెక్నికల్ టర్మ్స్ అవన్నీ ఉంటాయి. So what is this data abstraction is nothing but hiding the internal details and showing only the functionality. అంటే నేను ఇప్పుడు void add అని రాశాను, యాడ్ అని రాసిన తర్వాత ఆ యాడ్ ఫంక్షన్ నేను ఎప్పుడైతే యాడ్ ఆఫ్ 10,20 అని కాల్ చేస్తాను, ఇక్కడ నాకు int a, yeah, 1 minute, like if you are taking like in case of C language, I am writing printf %d, a అని రాశాను. ఓకే, ఇలా రాసినప్పుడు నాకు printf %d, a equal to 10 అని ఇచ్చాను, నాకు 10 వస్తుంది. బట్ ఐ డోంట్ నో హౌ ఇట్ ఈస్ కమింగ్. ఇప్పుడు నేను printf అనేది printf అనే కాల్ చేయగానే నాకు 10 అనేది డిస్ప్లే అవుతుంది. ఓకే, దట్ ఈస్ ఫైన్. Data abstraction is nothing but hiding the internal details and showing only the essential features are nothing but data abstraction. ఇప్పుడు నేను printf అనే ఫంక్షన్ యూజ్ చేశాను, అప్పుడు ఎప్పుడైతే నేను యూజ్ చేశానో నాకు వెంటనే నాకు 10 అనేది డిస్ప్లే అవుతుంది మానిటర్ పైన. బట్ ఐ డోంట్ రిక్వైర్ ద ఇంటర్నల్ డీటెయిల్స్. అంటే printf అనే ఫంక్షన్ ఎలా రాశారు, ఆ printf లోపల లాజిక్ ఏమవుతుంది, ఎలా డిస్ప్లే చేస్తుంది 10, అదంతా నాకు అనవసరం. ఐఎమ్ జస్ట్ యూజింగ్ దిస్ పర్టికులర్ printf ఫంక్షన్ టు డిస్ప్లే ద అవుట్పుట్ ఆన్ టు ద మానిటర్. ఇస్ దట్ క్లియర్? That is called data abstraction. I don't require the internal details, what is happening inside that particular thing. I will show only the essential thing. That is called abstraction. For example, if you are taking the real time example like phone call, we don't know the internal process. మీరు జస్ట్ ఫోన్ లో నెంబర్ డయల్ చేస్తున్నారు, జస్ట్ కాల్ సింబల్ టైప్ చేస్తున్నారు, ఆటోమేటిక్ గా దట్ ఈస్ కనెక్టింగ్ టు సమ్ పర్సన్ అండ్ ఐఎమ్ టాకింగ్ టు దట్ పర్సన్. బట్ ఐ డోంట్ నో ద ఇంటర్నల్ డీటెయిల్స్. ఎప్పుడైతే నేను కాల్ చేస్తున్నానో అప్పుడు వెంటనే అది టవర్ దగ్గరికి వెళ్తుందా, ఆ టవర్ నుంచి మళ్ళీ ఆ సిగ్నల్ దానికి కనెక్ట్ అవుతుందా, అక్కడి నుంచి మళ్ళీ ఇంకొక హబ్కి వెళ్తుందా, లేకపోతే ఏదైనా ఎక్స్చేంజ్కి వెళ్తుందా, ఐ డోంట్ రిక్వైర్ దోస్ డీటెయిల్స్. I require only the essential thing, like that is called data abstraction. Most of the functions that you are using are nothing but predefined functions. మీరు యూజ్ చేస్తున్నంత that is nothing but comes under this data abstraction itself. Is that clear? Alaf, you got it right? Yeah, hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Right. So what is the meaning of data abstraction is nothing but hiding the internal details and showing the essential functionalities is known as abstraction. Or another definition for the abstraction is the concept of exposing or showing only the required essential characteristics and behavior with respect to a context. I don't want to show all the details. I just show the details that are required, or otherwise the person or anyone can learn only the ఏదైతే అవసరమో అంతవరకే నేర్చుకుంటాం. ఐ డోంట్ రిక్వైర్ ద బ్యాక్గ్రౌండ్ డీటెయిల్స్. దట్ ఈస్ నథింగ్ బట్ డేటా అబ్స్ట్రాక్షన్. హైడింగ్ ద డేటా ఈజ్ ఆల్సో నోన్ యాజ్ డేటా అబ్స్ట్రాక్షన్. దిస్ ఈజ్ ఆల్సో comes under this data abstraction only. In object oriented programming language, this is implemented automatically while writing the code in the form of class and object. Okay, so whenever you are writing this class and object, automatically this data abstraction is also internally there. And data abstraction may also be defined as the process of identifying only the required characteristics of an object, ignoring the irrelevant details. The properties and behavior of the object differentiate it from other objects of the similar type, and also help in classifying, grouping the objects. Next, we are considering one more real-time example of data abstraction in which a man is driving a car. The man only knows that pressing the accelerators will increase the speed of the car, or applying brakes will stop the car, but he does not know about how on pressing the accelerator the speed is actually increasing. He does not know about the inner mechanism of the car or the implementation of the accelerator, brakes, etc. in the car. This is what abstraction is. Hope you understand, right? So whenever you are driving a car, is nothing but car internally contains some 10,000 parts. You don't know about the all the parts. ఏం చేస్తాయి అనేది మీకు అనవసరం. Only మీకు కావాల్సింది ఏంటి? If I want to learn the driving, then I have to learn how the accelerator will be working, how the wheel will be, how the wheel can be. I can with the steering, how to operate with the steering, how to operate with the accelerator, how to operate with the gearbox, how to operate with the brake. ఇవి తెలిస్తే సరిపోతుంది. వీటి వరకు నేర్చుకుంటే సరిపోతుంది. I don't require the internal details of that particular. Whenever I press the brake, దెన్ ఆ బ్రేక్ లో ఏ వైర్ దేనికి కనెక్ట్ అవుతుంది, దాని ద్వారా ఆ వీల్ కి ఎలా కనెక్ట్ అవుతుంది, ఆ వీల్ ఎలా ఆగిపోతుంది, అదంతా ఐ డోంట్ రిక్వైర్ దోస్ థింగ్స్. అండ్ దిస్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ అబ్స్ట్రాక్షన్. ఐ రిక్వైర్ వాట్ ఎవర్ ద ఫీచర్స్ దట్ ఆర్ రిక్వైర్డ్, ఓన్లీ I will learn only those things, and the whatever the internal background details, that I will ignore. That is nothing but data abstraction. Hope you got it right. అర్థమవుతుంది కదా నేను చెప్తున్నాను అంటే అందరికి అర్థమవుతుంది కదా, నేను చెప్పుకుంటూ వెళ్ళట్లేదు కదా, ఓకేనా? రైట్. సో here in case of C++, this abstract classes is achieved by using this data abstraction. Okay, by using this abstract classes. Inkoka 15 minutes. Yeah, so this is about data abstraction. Okay, so till now I discussed about data encapsulation, class, object, data encapsulation, and data abstraction. Class is nothing but it is a blueprint which is a class of, which is a group of objects that are sharing the common behavior and functionality, or otherwise I can say it is a yeah, that is the best definition. And object is nothing but it is a real-time entity. Class is a logical entity, whereas object is a real-time entity which is an instance of a class. Okay, instance of a class is nothing but object of a class. That is called and whenever I create the class, the memory will be not allocated, but whenever I create the object, the memory will be allocated for the variables and member functions. And data encapsulation nothing but the wrapping up of or combining or binding up of both data members and member functions into a single unit. That single unit is nothing but class. Whenever that process itself is called data encapsulation. Like in the normal case, wherever we have the capsule, inside that capsule we have the medicine, so that it is tightly coupled, so that outside medicine అనేది బయటికి రాకుండా ఎలా అయితే ఉంటుందో, the same thing, both data members and member functions are clubbed together, and I will place inside a single unit that is called class, so that whatever the data that is inside that particular class will be provided with security, so that outside users cannot easily access that particular data. That concept is called data encapsulation. I am clubbing the data and I will place inside the single unit. That is nothing but data encapsulation. And abstraction is nothing but this is nothing but it is the concept of showing only the essential features and hiding the internal details. Okay, showing abstraction is the process of showing only the essential functionality and hiding the background details or hiding the internal details is nothing but data abstraction. All of it clear, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and one more important concept is inheritance. Inheritance ante same thing. Meeku normal ga inheritance is I am inheriting the properties from my parent. Okay, I have this grandparent. From this grandparents, my parents something parent will acquire the properties, some of the properties. From these parents, child will acquire the properties. This is the same concept. I will call it as inheritance. So already we have one class A. So if whatever the features of that class A, if I am inheriting into the another class B, then that is nothing but inheritance. In the previous only I said what is this one, vehicle is a class. So inside this vehicle class we can some of the properties of this vehicle class can be kept in the that is two-wheeler class, and some of the properties of this vehicle class will be with the same some of the properties I can create a three-wheeler class. Okay, three-wheeler class. So this is nothing but inheritance. What is the definition for the inheritance? Is nothing but one class acquiring the properties of another class or parent class is nothing but inheritance. Okay, the process of obtaining the data members and methods from one class to another class. Okay, so I can say in an easy manner, like inheritance is the process of inheriting the properties from one class to another class. Whatever the properties అన్నప్పుడు అక్కడ both data members వస్తాయి, member functions వస్తాయి. Okay, so inheritance is the process of inheriting or obtaining the data members and member functions from one class to another class is nothing but inheritance, or it is also called as the process of creating a new class from existing class is also called as inheritance. Okay, ఆల్రెడీ ఒక క్లాస్ ఉంది, ఆ క్లాస్ లో ఉన్నటువంటి ఫీచర్స్ ని ఆ క్లాస్ లో ఉన్న ప్రాపర్టీస్ ని యూజ్ చేసుకొని నేను ఐఎమ్ క్రియేటింగ్ అనదర్ క్లాస్, దట్ ఈస్ నథింగ్ బట్ ఇన్హెరిటెన్స్. ఆర్ ఇన్హెరిటెన్స్ is the process of inheriting or obtaining the properties are nothing but data members and member functions from one class to another class. So ఈ data members member functions అనేవి క్లాస్ ఏ లో ఉన్న వాటిని నేను b అనే క్లాస్ లో యూజ్ చేయాలంటే I have to create a new class called b which is inheriting from the base class. ఓకే, ఇక్కడ మనం దీన్ని ఏమంటారంటే దీన్నే I can call it as parent class, or I can call it as base class or super class. And whatever the class that is derived is called parent అని అన్నప్పుడు దీన్ని చైల్డ్ అంటారు, అదే బేస్ క్లాస్ అన్నప్పుడు దీన్ని derived క్లాస్ అంటారు, సూపర్ అన్నప్పుడు సబ్ క్లాస్ అంటారు. ఓకే, సో all of you got it right. So inheritance is the process of inheriting the properties from the one class to another class. That is the one definition. Or inheritance is the process of creating a new class from existing class. So whatever the class that is newly created is also called as subclass or derived class or child class, and the class from which I am creating a new class is called the parent class or base class or super class. So what is the advantage of this inheritance is nothing but code reusability. నేను ఇప్పుడు ఒక క్లాస్ ఏ రాశాను, ఆ ఏ అనే క్లాస్ లో నాకు ఒక 10 ప్రాపర్టీస్ ఉన్నాయి, 10 ఫీచర్స్ ఉన్నాయి, 10 వేరియబుల్స్ ఉన్నాయి, నెక్స్ట్ 5 మెంబర్ ఫంక్షన్స్ ఉన్నాయి. సిమిలర్ క్లాస్ నేను b అనేది క్రియేట్ చేసినప్పుడు నో నీడ్ టు క్రియేట్ అగైన్ దీస్ 10 వేరియబుల్స్ అండ్ 5 మెంబర్స్. ఐ కెన్ డైరెక్ట్లీ యూజ్ ఇన్ ద b క్లాస్. I can create my own properties of the b class. Like ఈ b లో మళ్ళీ నేను ఒక 10 వేరియబుల్స్ తర్వాత 3 ఫంక్షన్స్ రాసుకోవచ్చు. క్లియర్? all of it clear, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is called inheritance. Inheritance is one of the most important concept of object oriented programming. మనకు మొత్తం 5th chapter మొత్తం inheritance. We will have this 5th chapter itself is totally for the inheritance, and we have two important concepts in the inheritance, that is subclass and superclass. The class that inherits the properties from the another class. So ఇప్పుడు మనకి a అనే క్లాస్ ఉంది, ఇది ఆల్రెడీ పేరెంట్ క్లాసు, ఆ క్లాస్ నుంచి నేను ఒక అనదర్ క్లాస్ డిరైవ్ చేశాను. ఎప్పుడైనా arrow ఇలా ఇండికేట్ చేస్తాం, that is nothing but what is the meaning of this one is nothing but b is a child class which is inheriting the properties from the class a. So here the class that inherits the properties from the another class is also called as subclass, which is also called as child class, which is also called as derived class. The class whose properties are inherited by the subclass is called superclass, which is also called as base class or superclass or parent class. Okay, and what is the advantage of this inheritance is nothing but reusability. I can reuse the properties. ఆల్రెడీ ఏలో నాకు ఒక 10 ఆర్ అదర్వైజ్ 100 వేరియబుల్స్ ఉన్నాయి, 50 ఫంక్షన్స్ ఉన్నాయి. నేను మళ్ళీ ఇంకొక ప్రోగ్రామ్ లో కూడా నేను అది రాయాలనుకోండి, ఒకవేళ నాకు ఇన్హెరిటెన్స్ కాన్సెప్ట్ లేదనుకో, నేను ఇంకొక ప్రోగ్రామ్ లో b అనే క్లాస్ క్రియేట్ చేసినా కానీ నాకు ఇవే వేరియబుల్స్ ఉన్నాయి అనుకో, మళ్ళీ నేను వేరియబుల్స్ క్రియేట్ చేయాలి. అలా కాకుండా ఇన్హెరిటెన్స్ అనే కాన్సెప్ట్ ఉండడం వలన జస్ట్ if I inherit this b from this a class, I can use all these properties are nothing but variables and members inside this b class. Is that clear?
Sir.
Yeah, this is called this is the advantage. So what is the example for this one is nothing but vehicle is a class. From this vehicle class I am deriving a 4-wheeler class and a 2-wheeler class. Okay, we will discuss all this. This is nothing but from a single class I am deriving 2 subclasses. Okay, this is nothing but from a single parent class. This is called parent class, and we have 2 child classes. This is child class 1, and this is your child class 2. Okay, and what are the objects of child class 1? Bus and car are the objects of 4-wheeler class, and bike and cycle are the objects of 2-wheeler class. Okay, is that clear? All of you clear, right? Yeah. So
Yes,
this
sir.
vehicle class is also called as parent class, or what is the next one? Parent class, or base class, or super class.
Super.
సూపర్ క్లాస్. సో ఇప్పుడు నేను పేరెంట్ క్లాస్ అని అంటే దీన్ని చైల్డ్ క్లాస్ అంటాను. అదే ఇది బేస్ క్లాస్ అంటే దాన్ని డిరైవ్డ్ క్లాస్ అంటాను. అదే సూపర్ క్లాస్ అంటే దీన్ని సబ్ క్లాస్ అంటాను. అంతే. ఓకే. ద ప్రాసెస్ ఆఫ్ క్రియేటింగ్ ఏ న్యూ క్లాస్ ఫ్రమ్ ఎగ్జిస్టింగ్ క్లాస్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ ఇన్హెరిటెన్స్, ఆర్ ద ప్రాసెస్ ఆఫ్ ఇన్హెరిటింగ్ ద ప్రాపర్టీస్ ఫ్రమ్ వన్ క్లాస్ టు అనదర్ క్లాస్ ఈస్ నథింగ్ బట్, ఈ క్లాస్ లో వెహికల్ అనే క్లాస్ లో ఉన్న ప్రాపర్టీస్ అన్నిటిని కూడా నేను ఇంకొక క్లాస్ లో ఇన్హెరిట్ చేసుకుంటున్నాను. అంటే ఇన్ ద సేమ్ మేనర్ ఇన్ ద రియల్ టైం from this grandparents I can inherit some of the properties అంటే some features like his nose, కొన్నిసార్లు in a nose same grandparent తాత లాగా ఉంది అంటారు, లేకపోతే పేరెంట్స్ లాగానే కళ్ళు ఉన్నాయి అంటారు. ఇవన్నీ ఏంటి, what are those called features or properties. Okay, so in the same manner in case of class I have the properties. What are the properties? Both data members and member functions. Okay,
Member.
so ఈ మెంబర్ ఫంక్షన్స్ ఆర్ డేటా మెంబర్స్ అండ్ మెంబర్ ఫంక్షన్స్ ఆఫ్ వన్ క్లాస్ ఐఎమ్ ఇన్హెరిటింగ్ ఇంటూ అనదర్ క్లాస్ ఈస్ నథింగ్ బట్ ఇన్హెరిటెన్స్. ఓకే, ఆర్ వి క్లియర్? రైట్.
Yes, sir.
Right. And the next one is your polymorphism. So the same thing explained here, like four-wheeler and two-wheeler are the subclasses of the class vehicle, and vehicle is the base class for this four-wheeler and two-wheeler classes, and bus and car are the subclasses anoddu. Actually ikkada tappu vachindi. Bus and car are the objects of four-wheeler class. Okay, objects of four-wheeler class, and two-wheeler and I can say class అని కూడా అనొచ్చు. Okay, I can say class అని కూడా. ఇక్కడ బస్ లో మళ్ళీ ఏంటిది, ఇప్పుడు ఎందుకంటే మళ్ళీ ఇప్పుడు కార్ లో కూడా మళ్ళీ నాకు డిఫరెంట్ పర్టికులర్ గా నేను ఇఫ్ ఐ సే లైక్ ఇఫ్ ఐ సే ఏ పర్టికులర్ కార్, like if I say a particular car, then I can have this one. Okay, so in that manner also I can call it as object or class. And the next one more important concept is polymorphism. The name itself is nothing but polymorphism. Poly means many. Okay, this is coming from two Latin words. Poly means many and morphos means forms. Okay, many forms. When one task is performed by different ways, known as polymorphism. The same task is performed by different ways, then that is called polymorphism. It is like yeah, stop, all of you mute. Yeah, so when one task is performed in different ways, that is nothing but polymorphism. So we are also performing that in a regular basis, like we will behave differently in different situations. That is nothing but polymorphism. If you want to convince a customer differently or draw something like shape, okay, so I will discuss that. Process of representing one form in multiple forms is known as polymorphism. Here one form represents original form or original method, always resides in base class, and the multiple forms refines overridden method which resides in the derived classes. The polymorphism can be achieved by using method overriding. We will discuss our function overriding or virtual functions. Okay, we will discuss this in detail in the coming classes, but for now you just require what is polymorphism. Polymorphism means many form. Like if I take an example, like plus is a operator which will behave differently in different situations. Like ఇప్పుడు నేను or otherwise I will take minus. Okay, minus అని తీసుకుంటాను. I will take minus. So if minus అనేది నేను ఒక 10 ముందల ప్లేస్ చేస్తే దాని ఏమవుతుంది, ఇది ఎనీవన్ టెల్? ఇక్కడ మైనస్ అనేది ఒక ఆపరేటర్ 10 కంటే ముందు ప్లేస్ చేస్తే, ఒక నెంబర్ కంటే ముందు ప్లేస్ చేస్తే ఏమవుతుంది? నెగటివ్ నెంబర్ అవుతుంది. అదే నేను ఇప్పుడు 10 - 20 చేశాను అనుకో, ఇప్పుడు ఏమవుతుంది? -10 అవుతుంది. అంటే ఇక్కడ ఏం జరుగుతుంది? సబ్ట్రాక్షన్ జరుగుతుంది. అదే నేను ఇక్కడ 2.5 - 3.5 చేశాను, అప్పుడు ఏమవుతుంది? ఇక్కడ కూడా సబ్ట్రాక్షన్ జరుగుతుంది. దట్ ఈస్ ఫ్లోటింగ్ సబ్ట్రాక్షన్. ఓకే, this is called floating subtraction. And one more thing is like if I am using -10, what is this one? Decrement operator. Okay, so ikkada manaki okate operator, that is nothing but minus is the operator, but that will behave differently in different situation based on the arguments. If it is used with single argument, then it is doing unary minus operation which is doing negative. If it is using between two operands, then it is doing subtraction operation, and those two operands may be integer ఇంటీజర్స్ అయితే ఇంటీజర్ సబ్ట్రాక్షన్ చేస్తుంది, ఫ్లోటింగ్ అయితే ఫ్లోటింగ్ సబ్ట్రాక్షన్ చేస్తుంది. అదే ఇఫ్ ఐఎమ్ యూజింగ్ 2 మైనస్ సింబల్స్ బిఫోర్ ఎనీ single operand, then it is doing decrement operation. So that is nothing but polymorphism. It is taking many forms. The same operator is behaving differently in different situations. This is one example, and I can take one more example, like a person is behaving differently in different situations. Like ఇప్పుడు నేను whenever I am having I am going to home, I will be acting like a father, I can act as a husband, or whenever I come to the college I can work as a employee. So the same person is behaving differently in different situations. That is called polymorphism. Is that clear? In the same manner, we have
Yes, sir.
same functionality, like add అనే ఫంక్షన్ ఉంది. I don't write the code. నేను ఒక కోడ్ ఏం రాయను దాంట్లో. నేనేం చేస్తానంటే జస్ట్ ఒక యాడ్ అనే ఫంక్షన్ రాస్తాను. ఆ ఫంక్షన్ లోపల ఉండే కోడ్ అనేది ఒక యూజర్ అనేవాడు ఒక కోడ్ రాసుకుంటాడు, ఇంకొక యూజర్ ఇంకొక కోడ్ రాస్తాడు, ఇంకొక యూజర్ ఇంకొక కోడ్ రాస్తాడు. That is nothing but that is the concept of polymorphism. We have the same function, but I can write different logic inside that particular function depending upon the situation. In the same manner, if I take one more example, like shape అని తీసుకున్నాను. Shape is a one method రాశాను, void shape అని ఇచ్చాను. Okay, or something like yeah, so draw shape అని పెట్టాను, void draw shape. డ్రా షేప్ అంటే నేను చెప్పగలుగుతానా? నేను ఇప్పుడు డ్రా షేప్ అని ఇచ్చాను, బట్ ఇందులో ఫంక్షన్ నేను ఏం రాసుకోవచ్చు అంటే ఇఫ్ ఐ వాంట్ టు డ్రా ద ఓవెల్, దెన్ ఐ విల్ రైట్ ద లాజిక్ రిలేటెడ్ టు డ్రాయింగ్ ద ఓవెల్. If I want to draw the rectangle, in the draw shape only I can write the logic that is related to drawing the rectangle. Okay, clear, right? That is called polymorphism. Polymorphism means many forms. The same thing can be behave differently in different situations. Okay, that is nothing but polymorphism. Okay, this polymorphism in C++ can be achieved by using one of the important concept called operator overloading and function overloading. This is called operator overloading. The same operator will behave differently in different situations. That is called operator overloading. And function overloading means same function I will write only one function only. This is not there in C language. C language లో ఒక ఫంక్షన్ యాడ్ అని రాసిన తర్వాత అదే ఫంక్షన్ లో డిఫరెంట్ లాజిక్ రాయడానికి లేదు. బట్ ఎందుకంటే మనకి ఫంక్షన్ ఒకటే నేమ్ రాసి దాంట్లో డిఫరెంట్ లాజిక్ రాయడానికి లేదు in case of C language. But in case of C++, I can write the single function, but different logics I can write. That is called function overloading. Operator overloading, function overloading, we will discuss in detail in the coming classes. And the next one is your dynamic binding. So normally all information needed to call a function is known at compile time, which means an object and function can be called during binding. Binding ante nothing but whenever I am writing a function, like what is this one, int add, this is called function declaration. దాని తర్వాత ఏముంటుంది, ఫంక్షన్ ఒక ఫంక్షన్ తోటి రాసేటప్పుడు ఏమేమి ఉంటాయి చెప్పండి? ఫంక్షన్ డిక్లరేషన్ ఉంటుంది. దాని తర్వాత ఇన్సైడ్ దిస్ void main we will have the for calling function calling ఉంటుంది, and we will write int add of, this is called what? Can anyone tell what is this one?
Function definition.
Function definition, very good. Okay, so this is called function declaration or function prototype or function signature. And the next one is, this is called function calling. I am calling the function, and this is called function definition. ఎప్పుడైతే మీరు ఫంక్షన్ ని కాల్ చేస్తారో వెంటనే ఏమవుతుంది? ఎనీవన్ టెల్ what will happen whenever you call the function? Whenever you call the function, then whatever the variables that are there within this function, ఆ ఫంక్షన్ పక్కన వేరియబుల్స్ ఏవైతే ఉన్నాయో, ఆ పర్టికులర్ ఫంక్షన్ పక్కన ఏవైతే వేరియబుల్స్ ఉన్నాయో ఆ వేరియబుల్స్ అన్ని ఒక స్టాక్ లో స్టోర్ చేస్తారు. I will store in a stack, and after that it will go to the function definition and it will execute those data, or function లో ఉన్న లాజిక్ ని ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేసిన తర్వాత మళ్ళీ again it will come to here. This is called function overhead, function calling overhead అని అంటారు. బట్ ఇక్కడ మనకి ఏంటంటే దీన్ని బైండింగ్ అంటారు, బైండింగ్ టు ద ఫంక్షన్ కాల్. ఓకే, సో ఎప్పుడైతే కాల్ చేస్తానో వెంటనే ఇట్ విల్ బైండ్ టు ద పర్టికులర్ డెఫినేషన్. దిస్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ ఫంక్షన్ బైండింగ్. ఆ బైండింగ్ అనేది మనకి జనరల్ గా కంపైల్ టైమ్ లోనే జరుగుతుంది. బట్ whereas this binding is done at the runtime, then that is called dynamic binding. Okay, we'll discuss in detail. Okay, that is in object oriented programming language like C++, the property of late binding or dynamic binding refers to రిజాల్వింగ్ ద ఫంక్షన్ కాల్ ఎట్ రన్ టైం. జనరల్ గా ఫంక్షన్ ని కాల్ చేయగానే ఏ ఫంక్షన్ కాల్ అవ్వాలనేది దట్ విల్ బి డిసైడెడ్ ఎట్ ద కంపైల్ టైమ్ ఇట్ సెల్ఫ్. బట్ కొన్ని సిచ్యువేషన్స్ లలో ఫంక్షన్ ని కాల్ చేసిన ఏ ఫంక్షన్ ని కాల్ చేయాలి అనేది దట్ కెనాట్ బి డిసైడెడ్ ఎట్ ద compile time, that will be decided at the runtime. That process itself is known as dynamic binding or late binding. Okay, ఇప్పుడు నేను draw అనే ఫంక్షన్ రాశాను. Here I will have this shape is the class. Inside this one we have the draw function. Whenever I call this draw function, this association to that particular draw function will be done at the runtime. Then that is your, if it is a circle object, then it will call the logic related to draw related to the circle. If it is triangle, then it will call the draw method related to this triangle, so that it will draw the circle and it will draw the rectangle. But both are having the same functionality. That's why you cannot decide. ఇప్పుడు నేను ఒక ఇక్కడ ఫంక్షన్ ఓవర్లోడింగ్ అనేది ఎలా జరుగుతుందంటే డ్రా ఆఫ్ ఇంట్ అండ్ డ్రా ఆఫ్ ఇంట్ కామా ఇంట్ ఇలా ఉందనుకోండి. ఎప్పుడైతే నేను డ్రా అని కాల్ చేస్తే ఆటోమేటిక్ గా ఐ కెన్ డైరెక్ట్లీ డిసైడ్ దిస్ డ్రా మెథడ్ విల్ బి కాల్డ్. అండ్ డ్రా ఆఫ్ 10 అని ఇచ్చారు అనుకోండి, దెన్ ఐ కెన్ డైరెక్ట్లీ సే దిస్ డ్రా ఆఫ్ ఇంటీజర్ విల్ బి కాల్డ్. అండ్ డ్రా ఆఫ్ 2, 3 అని ఇచ్చారు అనుకోండి, దెన్ ఐ కెన్ డైరెక్ట్లీ సే దిస్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ ఫంక్షన్ బైండింగ్. ఫంక్షన్ ఎప్పుడైతే నేను కాల్ చేస్తున్నానో దెన్ ఇట్ విల్ బైండ్ టు ద డెఫినేషన్, దట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ ఫంక్షన్ బైండింగ్. ఈ ఫంక్షన్ బైండింగ్ అనేది ఇఫ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ డిసైడెడ్ ఎట్ ద కంపైల్ టైమ్ దెన్ నో ప్రాబ్లం, దట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ స్టాటిక్ బైండింగ్. But for in some situations that is nothing but virtual functions, I cannot decide this function which is called cannot be decided at the compile time. ఎప్పుడైతే నేను ఫంక్షన్ ని కాల్ చేస్తున్నానో ఏ ఫంక్షన్ కి బైండ్ అవ్వాలి అనేది I cannot decide at the compile time, that will be decided only at the runtime. So runtime binding is nothing but which is also known as dynamic binding. Is that clear? All of it clear, right? Hello
Sir,
Yes,
means
sir.
like
yeah, tell me.
sir, like in stack operations we have done we have given a switch case to call
Yeah.
an operation like to
Right,
call pop like
pop,
that, sir.
right.
Then
No, it's not like that. Pop also you can decide. Whenever I call this pop, automatically pop method will be called, and after that one inside this pop some logic will be done, and this will be executed. But in some situations that is nothing but virtual functions, we will discuss that in detail. At the time we will understand. Only this dynamic binding is achieved by using these virtual functions. Okay, that you just remember. What is dynamic binding means? Deciding the function call will be decided at the runtime. Okay, binding to the function call will be done at runtime. That is called dynamic binding. Just now you just remember that point. Binding to the function call. Binding to the function call ante nothing but whenever I call that particular function, then that will bind to the definition. ఈ బైండింగ్ టు ఎప్పుడైతే నేను ఫంక్షన్ ని కాల్ చేస్తున్నానో దట్ విల్ బి బైండింగ్ టు ద డెఫినేషన్ అనేది ఇఫ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ డిసైడెడ్ ఎట్ ద కంపైల్ టైమ్ ఇట్ సెల్ఫ్, దెన్ దట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ కంపైల్ టైమ్ బైండింగ్ ఆర్ విచ్ ఈస్ ఆల్సో కాల్డ్ as స్టాటిక్ బైండింగ్. బట్ ఇఫ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ డిసైడెడ్ ఎట్ ద రన్ టైమ్, దెన్ దట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ డైనమిక్ బైండింగ్ ఆర్ రన్ టైమ్ బైండింగ్ ఆర్ లేట్ బైండింగ్. ఓకే, క్లియర్, రైట్?
yes sir.
Yeah, and the last concept, that is OOPS concept, that is nothing but message passing. One object can communicate with another. Okay, this is one object which will contain both data members and member functions. This is another object which will contain both data members and member function. One object can easily communicated with another by using the messages. This concept is known as message passing. That's it. Okay, so objects can communicate with each other by sending and receiving the messages or information to each other. A message for an object is nothing but it is a request for execution of the procedure. Messages ante nothing but ikkada method ni call chestadu ante. Ee object can call the method of another object. This object can call the method of another object, but this is not correct. Okay, ఇది మనకి ఏంటిదంటే డేటా సెక్యూరిటీ అనేది లాస్ అవుతుంది, అంతే కదా. మనం ఇప్పటివరకు చెప్పుకుంది ఏంటిది, ఒక ఆబ్జెక్ట్ లో ఉన్నటువంటి డేటా మెంబర్స్, మెంబర్ ఫంక్షన్స్ కెనాట్ బి యాక్సెస్డ్ అవుట్ సైడ్. అది దట్ ఈస్ యూజ్డ్ టు ప్రొవైడ్ ద డేటా సెక్యూరిటీ. బట్ బై మెసేజ్ పాసింగ్ one object can communicate with another object. That's it. Okay, but generally this leads to information security అనేది లాస్ అవుతుంది. Okay, is that clear? All of you clear, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is called message passing, in which objects can communicate or interact with each other with the help of this message passing. Okay, yeah, so an object may communicate with other objects by sending and receiving messages. For this one, they will use one queue called message queue. We will discuss this in detail in the coming classes. This is called message queue. If A wants to communicate with B, then A can put that message or request into the message queue so that this B will read that particular message. That is called message passing. And these are the benefits of object oriented programming. So what are those benefits? Just wait. Yeah, charging is not there. Just wait. Yeah. So what are the benefits of object oriented programming? Like, so this is object oriented programming provides clear modular structure for the programs. We can build programs from standard working modules that communicate with one another rather than, yeah, these are and it is good for defining abstract data types. The example is classes, and implementation details are hidden. So this is nothing but data abstraction. Data abstraction. So implementation details are hidden from other modules, and other modules has a clearly defined interface. So this is achieved by using interfaces. Okay. So the principle of data hiding helps the program. Otherwise, data will be hidden. And next, through inheritance, we can eliminate redundant code and extend the use of existing classes. This is nothing but reusability. This is also one of the advantage by using inheritance. And the next one is it is possible to have multiple instances of object to coexist with any other interference. I can create multiple instances of object. Okay, I can create any number of objects. It is easy to partition the work into different objects. Okay, projects lo different objects kinda divide chesesi, different classes kinda divide chesesi, I can give two different teams, and it implements the real life scenario, real life problems solve cheyadaniki, like real life లో ఉన్నటువంటి ప్రాబ్లమ్స్ కి సంబంధించినటువంటి సాఫ్ట్వేర్స్ డిజైన్ చేయాలంటే then I will go for this object oriented programming language only. These are easily upgraded from small to large systems, and message passing techniques for communication between objects makes the interfacing descriptions with external systems much simpler, and software complexity can be easily managed. Okay, so these are, and what are the promising areas of application of object oriented programming? Ekkada ekkuva use chestunnaru object oriented programming in the real time industries lo ekkada use chestunnaru real time systems like railway reservation systems or bus reservation system, Ola, different types of real time applications lallo simulation and modeling, object oriented databases. Okay, and the next hypertext, hypermedia and expert text, artificial intelligence and expert systems, neural networks and parallel programming, decision support and office automation systems, CAD CAM systems. వీటన్నిటిలో కూడా C++ language or object oriented programming concepts అనేవి యూజ్ చేస్తున్నాం. And the last topic for the first unit, that is what are the different types of object oriented programming languages. The first one is Simula. Simula is the first object oriented programming language, and this C++ language is also designed by using this Simula only. It has having both the features of C language and Simula. Okay, so that's, we will discuss that in the second chapter. What is the introduction to C++, history of C++ we discuss them. So Simula is the language which is the first object oriented programming language, and one most popular object oriented programming languages are C++, Perl, C#, .NET. In .NET also we have different flavors, but one of the object oriented programming language in the .NET is C#, .NET, Delphi, EFIL, Java, which is the powerful language, Java, JavaScript, Python nowadays, which is having more popularity. Okay, more popularity for the Python. If you don't know the Python, then you will not be a good programmer. Atla undannadu by the situation. Python ante compulsory you have to learn as a computer student. Okay, and PHP, that is your physical personal home pages, which is used to develop server side scripting language. JavaScript is a client side scripting. Both JavaScript next to PHP you will be having in the WD web designing lab lo untadi meeku. JavaScript is a client side scripting language, whereas PHP is a server side scripting language. Ruby, Smalltalk, Scala, Visual Basic .NET, that is VB.NET, Objective C. This Objective C అనేది మోస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ద iOS లో యూజ్ చేస్తారు. ఓకే, ఇప్పుడు షిఫ్ట్ అని అలా వచ్చాయి కానీ, బట్ ఎర్లియర్ ఈవెన్ టిల్ నౌ ఇఫ్ యూ ఓపెన్ iOS యాప్ కి సంబంధించి ఓపెన్ చేస్తే దాంట్లో లైబ్రరీస్ అన్ని కూడా .c .h ఫైల్స్ ఉంటాయి. దట్ ఈస్ నథింగ్ బట్ Objective C. Objective C is nothing but C programming with object oriented programming concepts. This is the C language with object oriented programming concepts. Okay, all of you clear, right? Yeah, No doubts, right? The today's is
Sir.
very important concept.
Yes, sir.
Today, in the today's class, we have discussed about the object-oriented programming concepts. So, what are those object-oriented programming concepts? Objects, which are nothing but a real-time entity, which is an instance of the class, which are nothing but a group of objects which will share the common behavior. I can say that is called a class. Class is nothing but a blueprint for the object. Before creation of object, this is nothing but blueprint. And next one is nothing but data encapsulation, wrapping up of both data members and member functions into a single unit is called data encapsulation. Abstraction is nothing but showing only the essential features and hiding the internal details. Inheritance is nothing but the process of acquiring the properties or applying the properties from one class to another class, or the process of creating a new class from existing class. Polymorphism means many forms. The process of the same thing can be behave in different situations. Okay, different in different situations. That is nothing but polymorphism. It is the ability to take more than one form. Ability to take more than one form is nothing but polymorphism. Okay, so ability to take more than one form, like the same plus operator, it will behave like positive number or unary positive operation in case of single operand. If I am using the same plus operator between two operands, it will do what? It will do
Addition.
between two numbers. This may be of different data types. And if I use plus plus a or a plus plus plus, it will do what? Increment or decrement operator. In case of Java language, if I am using this like this one, then it will do concatenation operation. Okay, this is nothing but polymorphism. Okay, the same operator will behave differently in different situations. The ability to take more than one form. The same operator is behaving in one form here, one form here, one form here, one form here, and one form here. ఇది జావాలో ప్లస్ అనేది నేను రెండు స్ట్రింగ్స్ మధ్య యూజ్ చేస్తే వాట్ ఇట్ విల్ డూ ఈస్ హలో వర్డ్ కంకాటినేషన్ చేస్తుంది. ఓకే, అండ్ డైనమిక్ బైండింగ్, this is nothing but generally whenever you call the function, then it will bind to the function. Okay, function definition during compile time itself, but that will be decided at the compile time itself. But binding to the function call cannot be decided at the compile times. In some situations I cannot bind the function call, or ఎప్పుడైతే నేను ఫంక్షన్ ని కాల్ చేస్తున్నానో ఏ ఫంక్షన్ ని కాల్ చేయాలి అనేది I cannot decide at the compile time. That will be decided at the runtime. That runtime binding of the function call to the function definition is nothing but dynamic binding or runtime binding, which is also called as late binding. And the message passing is nothing but objects can communicate with each other by using this, sending the messages between them. That process is called message passing. Okay, hope you understand today's class, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay then, thank you.